5,000 likes to this video, we will upload more patriotic news. Thank you. McCain just angered entire nation with disturbing four-word statement after Senator John McCain and two other Republicans voted no to perform a skinny repeal of Obamacare. McCain's reasoning sounded like he wanted it repealed or replaced, but he wants it done the right way and not to be rushed. McCain has been known to call Obamacare a disaster, and he's also got beef with President Trump. Trump and him aren't on the same page, so there's thoughts that McCain only voted no on this to go specifically against Trump. Here's McCain talking about Obamacare, completely trashing it, and it makes you want to like the guy. But then McCain voted against the repeal and is reported to have a small celebratory moment with Democrats. People have listed McCain as a rhino, a Republican in name only. McCain also gets called a traitor. Despite his recent diagnosis with brain cancer, he's been a bit shoddy in terms of his work for Republicans. Many wonder if he's actually a Democrat. Here's what McCain had to say about Obamacare after he voted to not repeal it. From the beginning, I have believed that Obamacare should be repealed and replaced with a solution that increases competition, lowers costs, and improves care for the American people. The so-called skinny repeal amendment the Senate voted on today would not accomplish those goals. While the amendment would have repealed some of Obamacare's most burdensome regulations, it offered no replacement to actually reform our health care system and deliver affordable, quality health care to our citizens. The Speaker's statement that the House would be willing to go to conference does not ease my concern that this shell of a bill could be taken up and passed at any time. I've stated time and time again that one of the major failures of Obamacare was that it was rammed through Congress by Democrats on a strict party line basis without a single Republican vote. We should not make the mistakes of the past that has led to Obamacare's collapse, including in my home state of Arizona, where premiums are skyrocketing and healthcare providers are fleeing the marketplace. We must now return to the correct way of legislating and send the bill back to committee, hold hearings, receive input from both sides of aisle, heed the recommendations of nation's governors, and produce a bill that finally delivers affordable health care for the American people. We must do the hard work our citizens expect of us and deserve. If we said that someone likable said this, then would people accept it? If you read his statement without associating it to John McCain, then it actually makes sense. This could be the one time that McCain actually made sense. If we forget that it was him saying it, then it's a fine statement. If President Trump said this, then everyone would agree with it. People are trashing McCain's statement because it comes from him and lots of people dislike him. The one point he makes, that I agree with, is to not rush into the repeal without a valid replacement. Don't disrupt the system, as bad as it is, unless the replacement is 100% better. Obamacare must go. It's a horrible option and people literally can't afford it. But we need to make sure whatever we do after Obamacare is perfect. We can't make the same mistake that everyone calls Obamacare. Americans need a solid healthcare plan that is affordable and provides great coverage. Insurance companies need to get their cut as well. Let's not count them out. There has to be a way to keep everyone happy, money in everyone's pocket, and move away from the abomination called Obamacare. Republican Americans are beyond angry at John McCain, Lisa Murkowski, and Susan Collins for voting no and joining the Democrats. They have every right to be angry, but do people actually understand why they're angry? Or are they just mad because it was McCain? People aren't trashing Murkowski or Collins nearly as much as McCain. Senator McCain just has a target on his head because he's acted like a bozo for a while, even before his sad diagnosis. If people can put their hatred for McCain away for a few moments and realize this is the correct way to eradicate Obamacare, then they'll see it actually makes sense. Let's get rid of Obamacare, but let's sit down and figure it out the right way. That way, when Obamacare is gone, then it's replaced with something that actually works. Obamacare needs to be repealed and replaced with something a lot better. Americans deserve an intelligent solution to healthcare. Every member of government should be using the same healthcare as everyone else in the country. If we force government, especially Congress, to use the same plans that we're using, then they'll have healthcare figured out in like 5 minutes. In fact, they probably already have a fallout plan that's titled "If they ever make us use the same insurance as them, then here's what we do," filed away in some dark tunnel under a rock in Washington. Everyone chill out and let's get rid of Obamacare the right way. Let's make the repeal and replacement so perfect that even Democrats vote yes on it. If you want to see leftists melt down, then make the Obamacare repeal and replacement so good that the Democrats switch teams and vote for it. Trump just unleashed hell on McCain today for intentionally messing up Americans with his vote. During his final days, the so-called maverick that is Senator John McCain from Arizona has managed to spit on the faces of all those of us who have voted, supported and even volunteered for him during the crucial 2008 presidential election. The very election which handed the nation over to a charlatan like Barack Hussein Obama. During the wee hours of July 28, 2017, Republican Senator John McCain along with his fellow GOP traitors, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, voted against the Obamacare skinny repeal in the Senate, both ensuring the Obamacare failure and the economic fallout that it will bring, not to mention earning the ire of our president, Donald Trump. McCain cast a crucial no vote just 2 days after a dramatic return to the Senate floor during which he called on his colleagues to work together on major issues. This despicable vote cements McCain's legacy as the Senate's maverick and traitor to the American people. A role which he has worn as a badge of honor since the George W. Bush presidency. Sky News reports, John McCain's Obamacare vote praised by Chuck Schumer. The 80-year-old maverick is described as someone who strongly speaks truth to power after defying his party and Donald Trump. U.S. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer has praised Republican Senator John McCain for voting against repealing Obamacare. Mr. Schumer said, "I have not seen a senator who speaks truth to power as strongly, as well and as frequently as John McCain. The very same courage he showed as a naval aviator in Vietnam, he showed last night. He's just a wonderful man. I treasure his friendship and just the fact of knowing him." Mr. Schumer also paid tribute to the two female Republican senators who also defied their party, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine. And he is reported to have been near to tears, as he echoed the sentiments of Republican Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, that the Senate now must move on. Urging members to turn the page in another way, Mr. Schumer said of Senator McCain, "All of us were so inspired by his speech and the life of the senator from Arizona. And he asked us to go back to regular order, to bring back the Senate that some of us who've been here a while remember." Senator McCain, who has been having hospital treatment for brain cancer, had been expected to save the bill for President Trump and his own party's leadership. But he and two other Republican senators voted against the key amendment, which was narrowly defeated by 51 votes to 49. Speaking about his decision to defy his party's leadership, the maverick senator urged Republicans and Democrats to work together for a fresh start on healthcare reform. "Our inability to address the pressing healthcare needs of the American people with meaningful and lasting reform is inexcusable," he said. The vote last night presents the Senate with an opportunity to start fresh. "It is now time to return to regular order with input from all of our members, Republicans and Democrats, and bring a bill to the floor of the Senate for amendment and debate." McCain, 80, joined Republican colleagues Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Maine in voting against the so-called skinny repeal, officially titled the Health Care Freedom Act. All 48 Senate Democrats also rejected it. The measure would have overturned the mandate that most individuals get health insurance and suspended a requirement that large companies cover their employees. It would also have delayed a tax on medical devices. Mr. Trump, who had made replacing Obamacare central to his successful campaign for the White House, responded on Twitter, saying those who voted against the repeal move had let the American people down. A longtime opponent of Obamacare, Mr. McCain said soon after the vote in the early hours of Friday morning, "From the beginning, I have believed that Obamacare should be repealed and replaced with a solution that increases competition, lowers costs, and improves care for the American people. The so-called skinny repeal amendment the Senate voted on today would not accomplish those goals. First, I would like to say that I offer Senator McCain my sincerest prayers and hopes that he makes a speedy recovery from this awful disease that has plagued him. But putting all that aside, it's now time to call a duck by its name. Yes, McCain was a maverick when W was president, and now he has gone full traitor under President Trump. But oddly, during the Obama years, he was mostly silent on every idiotic policy the Marxists in the Democrat Party wanted to shove down the throats of the American people. McCain is suffering from a devastating type of cancer where not many live to tell about it, but when it was time to get the treatment, he went to the Mayo Clinic, which is one of the best hospitals and research centers in the nation. He didn't go, nor hasn't gone in decades, to the VA hospital, which is run by the very entity he thinks should run the medical system for us peons. The United States government. Haim claim, if it's not good enough for you, it's not good enough for my family. Please share if you want to see McCain treated at the VA hospital like all other veterans. Wasserman Schultz going to mental hospital after what she did overnight, desperate to escape arrest. The biggest story this week was the arrest of Pakistani Muslim and longtime aide of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Imran Awan. Earlier this year, Awan and his two other brothers were caught trying to leave the country with stolen laptops that contained top-secret information from various congressmen. Shortly after the brothers were arrested, a criminal investigation commenced and Imran realized that he was going to go to jail for a very long time. In his attempt to avoid facing justice, Awan tried to flee the country but was picked up by police at the Dallas International Airport. This, of course, is scandalous, to say the least, and it was turned up another few notches after Imran hired his lawyer. The lawyer that was hired to defend Imran was no other but a close Clinton family associate and lawyer, Chris Gowan. Here is more from Conservative Review. In 2012, Gowan went to bat for Hillary Clinton aide Huma Abedin, whose family is deeply connected to the Muslim Brotherhood. After GOP reps explored Abedin's nefarious ties, Gowan pledged to stand with Huma. Along with his private practice, the longtime Clinton aide is also an adjunct professor at American University Washington College of Law, where he teaches courses on legal ethics and law practice management. Gowan's Clinton connections are intriguing on another level, given that Awan's employer in the House, Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, remains a close Clinton confidant. The former Democratic National Committee chair resigned from her position after emails surfaced alleging she attempted to tip the scales of the Democratic primary in Clinton's favor. Wasserman Schultz was also the 2008 campaign co-chair of Hillary Clinton's first failed run for president. Reading this, you would think that the mainstream media would be reporting this story non-stop, but that has not occurred at all. In fact, ABC, NBC, and CBS have dedicated a whopping 37 seconds to this political scandal. Of course, that seems ludicrous, but it is obvious that the mainstream media does not want to get to the bottom of this at all. However, that has not stopped Americans from pressing for more information, and the heat is getting Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Now, there are reports that Debbie is not faring well, and has been an absolute wreck since Imran's arrest. Also, there are calls for Debbie to testify before Congress growing louder, and it seems that she is about to cave. Here is more from Conservative Fighters. Debbie Wasserman Schultz employed Pakistani IT staffers and brothers who were paid over $4 million over the course of their employment, even though they were accused of a cybersecurity breach. Imran Awan was arrested as he attempted to flee the U.S. after wiring approximately $300,000 to Pakistan. Fox News is the only cable network covering this huge scandal. When Imran Awan was arrested, he was carrying $12,000 in cash on him. His wife was carrying $12,000 of cash when she fled the country too. Imran and his Muslim brothers, Abed and Jamal, accessed unauthorized computers while acting as IT specialists. The three brothers were making $161,000, $165,000, and $160,000, and one of the brothers has a criminal background. Word has it that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is an absolute wreck since Imran Awan was arrested. Calls for her to testify to Congress are increasingly growing as well. Wasserman Schultz knows she's in hot water over this IT scandal. The Gateway pundit previously reported the FBI seized smashed hard drives belonging to Imran Awan. We also reported that Debbie Wasserman Schultz threatened the chief of the U.S. Capitol Police with consequences for holding equipment that she says belonged to her in order to build a criminal case against a Pakistani IT staffer suspected of massive cybersecurity breaches. It is rather clear in watching the video that Debbie Wasserman Schultz has something to hide. Since, why would she threaten the police if there was nothing in the equipment that could point back to her or the Clintons? John Cardillo reports, Florida politicos who have known Wasserman Schultz for years are telling me she's a nervous wreck, barely able to function since Imran Awan's arrest. Then someone witnessed Wasserman Schultz in the midst of an epic meltdown in public. Is it possible that Wasserman Schultz is realizing that the DNC is crumbling all around her now? This is why alternative news is exploding over the traditional sources of media. The mainstream media is refusing to cover this story but will report the fake Russian collusion story, and President Trump's ban on transgenders in the military. They will do anything they can to stop the real truth of what is happening in our government to be revealed. Debbie Wasserman Schultz holds the key to many answers that the American people deserve to know. Hopefully, by keeping the pressure on Wasserman Schultz, she will crack and we can get to the bottom of the DNC corruption once and for all. Share if you want the truth exposed. Conservative fighters.